Well, it seems every year, I finish an airplane, and I get asked all the a lot, what I use and how I do it. Well, as I've stated in my building videos, the most important thing to a nice finish is the sandpaper. The more you sand, the nicer the finish is going to come out. But materials, a lot of people always have questions on materials, so let me grab some of them. This is the A1690 Randolph Clear. Now, this is not nitrate. I don't use nitrate. I only use butyrate. 1690 is the non-tautening crystal clear dope. It means it has no tint in it. So what I would do, because I have some of the, I think it's 9607. Let me see what the thinner is. Yeah, 9607. This is 9703 thinner. You can use the yellow dope as the base, the substrate, but I wouldn't paint that on as the top coat. After time in the sun, especially if your airplane is white, it will yellow, and it gets yellow like you smoked around it for a million hours. So I would use the crystal clear, which is a non-tautening dope. The other is a tautening. And just because you have an open bay wing, you think you have to use tautening. You don't. This stuff still tightens up because, as I've stated before, silk span doesn't shrink. It only expands. So when you wet it, you're relaxing it and you pull it tight. And when it goes back to its original shape, it seems like it's tightening, but it's not. It's just going back to its original shape. So your job, you have to pull that tissue tight. Okay, I use sign painters brushes. There's plenty of brushes. You see the difference between brush. This brush is a hobby brush. Uh-oh, we got slow bit rate, which I don't get. And the bristles are kind of thick and heavy, and they make brush marks. So if you get a good camel hair or sable hair brush, it'll leave less brush marks. Let me see what's going on with this bit rate. God, there we go. It went away. All right. Next. I don't have any more quart mason jars that are clean, so I use pint mason jars, but it's the same theory. Take a jar, fill it up with the unthinned dope. Fill it all the way up. Then pour half of this off into another jar and fill both jars with thinner. Do not use less than 50% thinner. Anybody that says any different doesn't understand how dope works. Dope is a chemical bond. It must have the agent to bite between one coat and the next. If you don't have thinner, or you do like Wendy did and decant it, meaning that he would pour off the binding agent and just leave the pigment in the bottom, the pigment has no bite to it. It can't bite from one coat to the next. And what you'll find is that when you pull the tape off, it pulls the paint off. I'm sure, I mean, anybody that's finished a model airplane has had that problem. You lift the tape, pulls the paint off. Well, that's because you didn't have enough thinner in it. I was taught by the U.S. Navy how to paint, and I'm telling you, the government spent a lot of money teaching painters how to paint. I'm telling you, you better use thinner. Okay, so now that we've said all that nonsense, this airplane here, or this wing here, has no finish on it. None, zero. It has a Z-epoxy center section. Now, one thing that I found in this as well is that dope doesn't really stick to epoxy very well. You're supposed to use a primer. And what a primer is a self-etching primer, has acetone in it. So the acetone bites into this. So we're going to add, I'm not going to use acetone, but this is well thin. This is probably 60-40. And we're going to paint, I'll paint the wings out from about here out with my dope, then add more thinner, and then come back and paint the center section so we get a good bite into the Z-epoxy. Now, I sanded this fiberglass, but there's still a matte. I mean, when you sand it, you can hear the weave in it. That's what I meant. Let me get this off the bench. So even down to the brushes, you gotta think ahead. Back in the 50s, or even later than that, because when I was a kid, I didn't have spray equipment. We did brush paint jobs. I'm gonna go ahead and use this brush today. We did brush paint jobs, and if you float the paint on, you can do a pretty nice brushed paint job if you use enough thinner. So let's shake this up. Now this is going to probably be about a 10 video series. You'll notice it's a course, a playlist, well described on my channel. We'll see how this does. I'm trying to gain more views, so to speak. Yeah, it floats good. So you want to give this thing 3 coats. And you don't want to pile 3 coats on, one right after the other, because all you're doing is loading the grain that way. The reason why they use Z-epoxy is it seals the grain. You don't want it's a dope finish is hard to explain. You want it to bite the grain, but you don't want it to load the grain. Otherwise, you end up with an airplane that's 80 ounces. Now, I don't know anything about water-based finishes. I do know about urethane, and I know that that 1 coat of urethane is not an ounce. I'll bet on that. I've heard it a million times. Oh, it's only an ounce. No. Because and whatever you put in the cup, if you put 8 ounces of material in the cup and you spray it all on the airplane, you may lose an ounce to the atmosphere. And there's no gassing off. It don't lose. As a matter of fact, dope doesn't lose that much weight. You know, people say, well, 50% will gas off. No, it won't. Like I was showing yesterday when I was sanding that white fuselage. If I were to sand it all off, all of it off, I bet it wouldn't lose a gram. Maybe a quarter ounce, maybe 7 grams. Because it's down in the wood. It's not, this stuff here is thin enough to paint on this Z-epoxy. It's down in the wood. It's not laying on top. Well, urethane is especially that way. The chat working, guys? And we only got one watcher. I guess this is an oddball time for me to be on. Okay, good. This painting is a chemistry experiment. You can get yourself a viscosity meter, and that measures in centipoids. And you dunk it down into your paint, and you pull it up, and you count the seconds till it empties, the cup empties. And different paints have a different brushing or spraying viscosities, and you kind of got to look it up on the tech sheets where you're supposed to be. As new painters, as new finishers, I would suggest you get one. I don't have one in my Amazon store, but I could look and see. See if they have them. I've been painting long enough that I can put a paint stick or a brush in there and see how long it takes to drip off the end and tell you if it's right. But as a new painter, if you wanted to do a super nice job, knowing what I've told you, that you got to have thinner, I would get a viscosity meter. And on the tech sheets, look for the number of centipoids it's supposed to have. And centipoids just means how many seconds does it take for the content of the cup to drain. Or you can do like me and see how it just, there's a couple of drops left there. I don't know if you can see that or not, but you can tell how fast it drips off the brush. Now, water-based technology, I know nothing about. I'm scared of it. Because what happens to balsa wood when you get it wet? Not good. And you got to have something to lock it up, and that would be the dope here. So I suppose water-based would be a valid way to do things if on balsa wood, if you sealed the wood with dope or Z-epoxy or some type of other inert, medium. Z-epoxy would probably be the best because it's absolutely 100% non-reactional to balsa wood. It seals it. Now hairspray. This is a foam wing. Let's go with the hairspray aspect because that's kind of important too. You spray hairspray on the inside of the wood before you put the Z-epoxy on. Hairspray is lacquer. You could use dope, I would imagine. Never done it. I always just get a cheap can of Final Net hairspray, but they don't even have that anymore. So I might have to go to dope. And all that does is block the glue from sinking in. So let's say that I was going to finish a wing like this in water-based paint, which I've never done. I got a whole kit of water-based paint over there, Creative and Trident. And it's, you know, the custom cars, they use it on cars because they don't use lacquer anymore. I think how I would do it is Z-epoxy the wing. Of course, we're talking weight. Everything you add on the wing adds weight, lots of weight. I think I would, if I knew I was going to do a water-based paint job, I would take dope, 50-50, put a coat on the wing after it's sanded perfectly. Then I would Z-epoxy it and sand the Z-epoxy perfectly. Then I would probably take a 2-part automotive primer, prime the wing and sand it all off. Get it all off. Just all you're doing with the primer is the lows. Okay, here we go. We got 1 coat of dope on this wing. Then, after the primer's on, I would take another coat or put another 1 or 2 coats of super thin clear over the top, dope over the top of the primer. And that acts as a binder, a sealing agent, what do they call it? A blocking agent, I think. No, it's a sealer. Okay. No need for automotive sealer. We'll use dope. Anyway, then I would paint on my Createx water-based paint. This would be the lightest way I think you could do that. And from what I understand, the pigments or the solids are pretty high in water-based paint, and it doesn't take much. I would spray my top coat of water-based paint, my pigment on my base coat. Here again, I'm not sure because I've never done water-based, but then I would probably seal it with an automotive sealer on top of that, which is clear. Automotive, we've already left dope and went to automotive. And then do all your trim colors and color sand between. No, you can't color sand between without another sealer coat. I don't understand how these guys are getting these airplanes so light with automotive. It don't make sense. Anyway, they're not light. They're 60 ounces plus. And as far as urethane paint, whatever you spray on stays on. There's no evaporation. So if your cup weighs 8 ounces and you spray it all on the airplane, you're going to have 7 ounces of material on the airplane. That's just the way it is. You're not going to go from 8 ounces of material down to a 1 ounce coat of paint. Not if the cup's empty. One thing I found about dope, and we're back to dope. One thing I found about dope is the diet. The diet works. And I showed John Jordan the diet. He was doing 8 to 16 ounce finishes. I said, John, you're using too much material. Ron O'Toole told me if you're going to build light airplanes, you got to leave parts off. And that's why Billy built the Thunderbolt, because there was no spinner and, you know, the shorter nose. And of course, it's an amazing airplane. It's 53 ounces and it's huge, 700 squares. But you gotta leave the paint off. So you use 1 quart of dope. So you take a quart mason jar and you fill it all the way up to the top, the quart mason jar, and you pour half of it off. So now you got 2 quarts of material. 1 quart is for the substrate, which would be 2 of these for the substrate, which we're going to use. The substrate is the locking coats that, such as we need 3 coats of dope on this so that our tissue has something to lock to. And then when you put the tissue on it, and I'm going to do that too, we'll do that probably this evening. I have to work tomorrow, so this will be a project that's going to be ongoing for a couple of weeks probably. And when you put the dope on it and you pull all the wrinkles out and you take your hand and you force the dope through the tissue down into the wood. And this is why that first coat of, you know, when you put the tissue on, you could use acetone, straight acetone, no dope, because you're trying to soften the material up underneath to get it to grab the silk span. But I use 60-40 dope and then rub it in. Like this right here is already, we can see the hairies, the fuzzies on this. And as soon as this dries, I'll flip it over and we'll paint the other side. And then when that dries, I'll do a light sanding with 400. Light sanding. And I don't mean, if you're shaping, then we're going to put another 2 more doing the same thing of this material before the tissue goes on. And then 3 more coats before any primers, or which I don't really use anymore as primers. I use primers for hard to fix spots because they canceled my DC 540 made by Sherwin-Williams. Do not buy DC 540 for this anymore. They still sell it, but it's a different formula and it's total garbage. For what we do, you can use it on the car, but you ain't using it on an airplane, like not like it used to be. Yeah, it's gonna come out nice. I wish I had an infrared heater. When we had the body shop across it was 1 street over, Mark owned it. You could take this in and put an infrared heater on it and whoop, it'll be dry in a second. But I gotta flip this over and we'll do another coat. But this series, which is now a course, it says, that's how I listed it. As on the playlist, it's a course, is going to cover getting this material on the wing. Or yeah, we won't worry about the rest. We'll do the wing, and then when I finish the airplane, when I glue this on the fuselage and do the fillets and do the final coats of paint, I'll add that to this list so that you guys can see what it takes. This thing is laser straight, so this should be a good airplane, except for the weight. And it's not in the finish; it's in the foam itself. Did you guys know that balsa wood is as strong as steel, pound for pound? There's not any other material that has the properties of balsa wood. We're almost ready. Flip it over. Of course, we got to take all the doors off of it. You don't want to glue the doors in. Ask me how I know that. Let's see, we got a few comments up here. I probably ought to bring my notebook home from work so I can read it without walking. Working fine. Hey, I'm off from work today, MLK Day, so I'm watching all the way through. I forgot today was MLK Day. You know, when I was a kid, we had Washington's birthday. This is aggravating. This is aggravating. We got a gay pride month. We got all kind of month, African History Month, and all this stuff. We used to have Washington's birthday and Lincoln's birthday, 2 different days. Each guy got a day. And veterans get a day. What is all this nonsense about? 1 day for veterans and a month for gay pride. I don't get it. Black History Month. It's another one. Veterans get a day. Oh, well, don't want to talk too controversial. They'll demonetize my channel. The censorship is unbelievable. We're going to use 400. I'm just going to knock this off. It's still a little tacky. Of course, it's 320. What happened to the 400? Think about it. That's all I can say. Ain't right. Haven't even shaped the flaps, or, you know, I got my flaps are just square pieces of 3/8 still. And we'll put them on, especially with my hinging system, we'll put them on. I got a feeling this airplane's going to fly good, even though it's going to be heavy. And when I say heavy, it's not heavy to some, but this is 320. Oh, there's the 400. I think it's time for me to get some more sandpaper. Now, this can be found in my Amazon store. This is this sticks it. Rolls of paper. I buy 320, 400, 180, and 80. If you listen to the paper, I'll tell you when you're done sanding. Smooth as a baby's bottom. I think I'm going to have a line right there, that glue line, which is not good. I'm going to have to sand it when the paper's on it. I can't get it out of there for some reason. All we're doing here is knocking fuzzies off of it. Now you can do this one of two ways. You don't have to do this. People are going to say you're crazy, whatever. You don't have to sand between coats. You can sand all at the end. Work. And I don't think it's as light. Because I used to tell John, I get it at the end. Don't worry about it. Whatever you do, don't skip this step. Do not dope over the top of this because it will lock it in there just like epoxy. Finish these separate. The dust, the sanding dust, and the dope mixed together, and it'll lock it in there. You'll never get it out. Inboard. Well, these things feel pretty heavy. Ply, it's not 8. There it is. Almost. Let me tell you what makes me so reluctant. If you spend 400 hours building an air, I did this once already. I did it with a profile way back when. You spend 400 hours or so building an airplane, and you know what dope is going to do, and you don't know what automotive is going to do. What makes me gun shy is that I ruined that profile. It never flew. I just threw it out. Alternative automotive finish. Now, it could have been because I wasn't as weight conscious or whatever, but it added. I think it was 11 ounces for a finish, and it was already portly. It'd be like can I make it look good? Yes, I could make it look great. I can make it look just exactly like a motorcycle or a car or whatever. Because you're not worried about what it weighs. But the thing that gets me is that I'm worried about what it weighs. And I just don't want to ruin an airplane. Maybe if I were to see the exact steps that Joel is using, Joel Constantino, or I think that's who Bob said is the painter. And materials make a difference. Just like I'm used to Randolph products, which is, let's mention that. Randolph products. Brodak dope is Randolph without as much pigment. I don't know why they decided to do that. If it takes a quart, let me put it this way, if it takes a pint of paint to paint your airplane, which a pint is a lot, I use a half a pint of color. It'll take a quart of Brodak. Same manufacturer, different specifications. And a quart of material, as opposed to a pint, is a huge difference. Double the weight. This is a pretty messy process. You just slather it on. You know, you don't have to worry about being. Another thing that I found that helps out with weight is that once you do the initial 3 brush coats of paint on the tissue and you get it sanded out, it's best to switch to spray. Unless, of course, you don't have spray equipment, then you can brush it. I've seen a lot of good brush finishes back in the day. See, my adage is, you know, as far as these alternative yeah. It's a pretty expensive experiment. All the wood, all the time, shot in an airplane that you don't know is going to work. Matter of fact, I haven't seen any super light automotive finished airplanes yet. When I say super light, I'm talking Billy light, you know. Super light to an automotive guy is 65 ounces plus. You know, I go to the nationals. I watch the scales. I see what these airplanes weigh. They're not what they say they are. It's when I did appearance that year, and I grabbed Billy's 53-ounce Thunderbolt, that surprised the hell out of me. You know, in 04, when I went to the Worlds and I saw that airplane fly, I started taking measurements to build a few of them. the question that I failed to ask is this way. And I built, I can't remember the count, on 5 or 6 of them. And I might try it again, to be honest with you. I might start saving wood, you know, where you get some 3.5 pound wood, save a stick here and there to build this Thunderbolt again. With the wood that I have now, I don't think I could build it under 60 ounces. No, matter of fact, I say no way. That airplane at 53 ounces is so impressive. You know, he was using a PA 61 in 04, and then he went to the 65. Mine had a 75 in it. And you think, wow, yeah, great, more power. No, more weight. Shit. If you go on YouTube and search a windy video of me flying that Thunderbolt, I can see the push in that airplane. And I don't like that push. Was it light? Well, it was lighter than Bob McDonald's, but it wasn't as light as Billy's. But I could possibly try another one, because they're a cool looking airplane if you spend the time to detail like I did my Thunderbolt 3, like I was going to do my Razorback. I built one Razorback and the rest were bubble tops. I'll never build another Razorback. Okay, we got 1 coat of dope on this thing. I got to do this 3 times. So in this course, would you guys like to see the entire finish, or would you rather that I do some of the work off camera and then come back with the highlights? You know, it's up to you. It's you guys. I'm trying to teach you guys how to do what I know how to do. Now, when you tissue these wings, you do the bottom first, and you take the tissue and you go past the trailing edge to the other side, and then do the same on top and go past the so it makes an envelope. It makes a bag, kind of like monocoating. I got to tell you, finishing these separate parts is a whole lot easier than finishing a whole airplane when they're all glued together. And I've done it both ways, but I kind of like this. I'm kind of interested. Let's see what the difference between a Tempest wing and this wing is. I got that Tempest wing that's in tissue, and we'll weigh that up because it's about the same size. Well, we'll see what we gave up in weight. Now this wing here has been carbon veiled and then tissued. Let's see what it weighs. That was 17.4 in this stage with the flaps. And this built-up wing is 16.0. So we're an ounce and a half heavier for the 16.0. I don't know if you can read it or not, but we're an ounce and a half heavier for the foam wing. And I think 16.0 is too much. Thank you, Stomper. I'm not using StreamYard anymore, so I can't display your super chats in the video. I can only say thanks and give them a heart and a thumbs up. And I will do that when the video ends. That was a $50 expense per month that I had to cut out because we ain't making it. But anyway, this is 16, what did I say, 16.0? Yeah, I think. Yeah, 16.0. Let's measure this other, weigh this other wing. $16.0 as opposed to of course that may be wrong now that I 16.0, and here sure feels a lot heavier. 17.9 plus flaps and horn. That's 2 ounces heavier so far. And let's get the flaps and horn. Plus the horn. Plus the flap. I bet this is 18 ounces. And I bet this is 18 ounces. That's turd. Shit. It's 20 ounces. So we got 20 ounces here. We're going to give you an idea what this is going to weigh. So this is 20 ounces. Elevator stabilizer and fuselage. That's 20. So we got 36 ounces of airplane. Plus 20 ounces of hardware, that's 56 ounces. Plus 6 ounces of finish, 62. This airplane will be 62 or 63 ounces. It is big, but I don't know. I like flying mid 50s 50 ounce airplanes. And if I could get them down to 40, I'd be doing that. Now let me show you a trick that I use, because we're going to be painting again. I can't quite, not quite dry yet. This is for sale in my Amazon store as well. And shit, we're out of thinner already. So we're going to get some acetone. I guess when I go to the Lowe's, I need to buy another couple gallons of acetone. I take a ball driver. I got a hole drilled through this. Let's see if, yeah, this is made for a quart jar. Yeah, need to drill a different hole in it. So that don't matter. We'll just wipe it off here. We'll just clean it out. Don't use your dope thinner to clean equipment. Dope thinner is $55 a gallon. Acetone is $20 a gallon. Now, some guys ask, well, why can't I use Lowe's lacquer thinner or Lowe's acetone? Well, I suppose you could use Lowe's acetone in enamels and stuff, but as far as the dope goes, it leaves a blush. It leaves a haze that you can't get rid of if you use it as thinner. Okay, let's talk about how much material I've used already. Remember, I say that finishing a model airplane gets 1 quart of dope. That's for substrate and top coat. What happened? There it is. For substrate and top coat. This was full when we started. 1 quart uses half of a pint, or 1 coat used half a pint. So you're going to get, let's see, you're going to get 4 coats. Half a pint is 1 coat, so you get 2.5. You get 4. Of course, we're going to add thinner to that. So you get about 6 coats of dope out of 1 quart of paint. That's quart total. That's not solid material. That's, you know, 1 fluid quart, not 1 total quart. So you can figure that you do that all over the airplane, that's 6 ounces. Shit. So if you do 10, that's 10 ounces. I mean, I know I sound crazy, but I've done enough of this to know that I know how much this stuff weighs, and it weighs a lot. And you wouldn't even think about it because it's clear. It doesn't look like it did anything. Well, you're adding solids to it. So we got We got 1 quart on this. Let's sand it up and flip it over, and I'll get the other side another coat going, and then we'll wait till tonight to do the 3rd coat. Got a Bugari right there. We might need to step it up on that. Them Bugaris are something else. Okay, that's good enough. Now listen, I don't know whether you can hear it or not, but if you listen to the sandpaper, it'll tell you a story. Hear it? And to me, especially on the tips of the stab, wing tips, there's nothing prettier than it's just like looking at a car or a baby grand piano. Which finish looks best? I guess it depends on your outlook. The car looks like plastic. The baby grand piano looks like finished wood. Because it's hand wrought lacquer, not plastic. Stain as opposed to Rubio Monaco. And what I think is funny is once you get all this sanded, you think, well, I'm done sanding. No, not even close. You ain't done sanding until it's polished out, and then I bet I could take your airplane and sand it and make it shinier. Just finer grit sandpaper. So what has to happen this week is I need to clean out my other room, even if I'm not going to remodel, so that I can have a place to spray, because I can't even move in there. I got a paint job I got to do for a guy anyway, but I told him after the first of the year, we'll get to it. And that's it. Never again. Hardest part of the build is the finish. Gluing and cutting the parts together, no big deal. Okay. $20 ounces. Jeez. That's ridiculous. But I gotta take my old lady to the store. She's a good gal. She puts up with this. Okay, let's slop some more paint on it. Nope, we didn't want that. Acetone glued my mouse to the brush. You'll go faster now. Got the first coat on there. Before you start putting the tissue on this, it has to pick up a shine. I don't mean a mirror shine, but it has to be shiny. You know, when you look at it in the light, you can see the gloss, the reflection. Otherwise, the paper won't stick. Because dope is not a paint, it's a glue. It's a 35 millimeter film tone, and whatever's left is what you got. So it's actually a plastic glue, but it's acetone based instead of, it's solvent based instead of mineral based. And back in the day, anybody who worked with aerogloss knows it. You put aerogloss over the top of this, you'll have wrinkle paint. Because now that I think about it, I really believe that gloss is MEK based. Maybe I'll ask AI. Let's do that. Let's ask AI. What can I thin aerogloss with? I never thought about asking AI. Because I got 2 quarts of aerogloss. That shit's probably $40 a quart. Used to be $3. Let's see. Let's ask AI. Give me a second. It may not even know. WHAT, can I thin ROGLOSS dope with? Ah, here we go. It's got it. Let me read this to you. It says, Aerogloss Dope is a brand of butyrate dope. Is best thinned with the manufacturer's own Aerogloss thinner. If you cannot find the official brand, there are several compatible alternatives with specific ratios to follow. Recommended thinner, Aerogloss. Okay. I knew it. I knew that this was okay. Official Aerogloss is the most reliable option to ensure compatibility with a proper finish. It typically contains methyl isopropyl ketone and acetates. MEK, often cited as the base solvent for Aerogloss, MEK is a strong alternative found at most hardware stores. High quality lacquer thinner. Many modelers use automotive grade lacquer thinner, but you should test a small amount first, which I have never found works. Low quality hardware store thinners can sometimes cause the dope to curdle or turn into jelly-like consistencies. Acetone, while it will thin the dope, it evaporates very quickly and can lead to blushing, a cloudy white finish in humid conditions. Mixing ratios. The proper ratio depends on your application method. Airbrushing or spraying, 1 part thinner to 1 part dope. Up to 1 to 2. Brush application, 1 part thinner to 1 part dope. Okay. Prep primer, 1 thinner, 1 part primer. Okay. Important tips. Avoid contamination. Do not use nail polish remover, as it often contains oils or perfumes. Humidity warning. If you experience blushing white streaks, you may need to add retarder to slow down. I'm gonna hold this. Well, I don't need to. I know that they're using MEK in it. I knew it. I knew it. So, anybody got any Aerogloss dope? Use MEK to thin it. I did a test with 3608S. Total crap. Didn't work. So my next airplane, I'm going to paint with Aerogloss base. We'll use up that base. I'll use MEK. Makes it, and it doesn't matter because it's base. If it blushes, why was Aerogloss to Randolph? Does anybody know? It had its issues back in the day. You had to add 1 drop of castor oil per ounce of dope to keep it from cracking, or a good plasticizer. So the reason Aerogloss dope, in my opinion, was superior to any other dope, certified or Randolph or whatever, is it dried harder and you could polish it shinier. I mean, you could polish like a gem. Where this stuff is softer. And yeah, you can polish it, but it just takes 10 times more work. So it knew. God, that's great. I guess there's been other people asking. And we'll do a test sample. I'll test it out for you guys to see if it works. I can tell you this, chemicals that I thought would work in doing some, I wanted to make my own DC 540. So I thought I had the formula, and I thought the key was, oh, what the hell is that shit? It's sitting over there. I bought a gallon of it. Xylene. Xylene doesn't even make good soap. It's like nothing. So xylene ain't the answer. It's a weak thinner. About as strong as naphtha. And anybody knows what naphtha is, that's lighter fluid. Garbage. Garbage for a bite, anyway. You guys got any questions out of me? I mean, been on for an hour, 12 minutes. Got no questions. Except for stuff I ain't going to do. So for now, as far as automotive finishes go, I think I'll just watch you do it. Until I see somebody do a 6-ounce finish, which they say they're doing. I know they're not. You can't. This is the show me state. I want to see it. Where I will show and give you correct numbers, because it don't matter to me. One thing you got to remember on this, I'm going to do this here. This should count for the finish, but there's no way to get an accurate count on this. You got to have an airplane all together with no finish on it and start weighing it from there and get 6 ounces. This finish is going to be over 6 ounces. I would say it's going to be 10 ounces, because it's going to take 4 ounces to get all this ready to go, get glued together. We'll glue it together and put 6 ounces of paint on it. So that's a 10-ounce finish, and that's probably what the urethane guys are doing, a 10-ounce finish, not a 6-ounce. However, I have seen 16-ounce finishes. And as a matter of fact, the plane of the year in 2006, I know damn well is a 16-ounce finish. It used a gallon of dope. A gallon. God. Long time ago, when I was in Oregon, I had a guy in the Eugene prop spinners tell me, yeah, I used a gallon of dope, and it was a beautiful candy red Oriental airplane. It was beautiful. I used a gallon of dope on it, only added an ounce. I'm thinking, you're out of your mind. Put it on and sand it off. Because as I told you, even if you sanded it all off, you can't sand it all off. You'd have to sand through the wood to the other side, because it's sinking down in the wood. And that's just the nature of dope. And that's what makes it so appealing. And to be honest with you, dope finish is the most forgiving finish you can do. If you smack the ground and have to repair it, there's no problem in repairing a dope finish. To back to look just like it, it's work, but I got my Viper hanging on the wall there that I've sanded the fillets out of it. And once I get back to that, you won't be able to tell that I did that, refinished it. The June RXL, take it, strip it all the way down to the bare wood. But each time that I do that, it gains an ounce from the previous time. It started out at 54, refinished it, it was 55, repaired it, it's 56. It gains an ounce each time you do it. So now we'll strip it all back down, and it'll still probably be 57 because the dope is soaked down into the wood. As soon as this dries, we'll flip it over and give it one coat on the back. Then I want to take the old lady to the store. Then it needs another coat, and you're not supposed to do 3 coats a day. You're only supposed to do 2, but remember, I'm building a profile to have a Nats finish on it where you get no appearance points, so it don't much matter. But you never know. I might want to fly this in an event that I might smack the ground with one of my airplanes, and this is a backup. You got to have appearance points. But profiles normally aren't the best of looking. Of course, like I said, Uncle Jimmy's got a pretty nice one. I ordered 24 karat gold leaf that's spinnable, so I can do my AMA number about as big as you can get on the thing. And the name of this airplane is the Titan. At least that's the one that's got my vote so far. Golath. Yeah, it was Goliath or Titan, but Goliath is 6 letters. My AMA number is 5 numbers. You want to keep it balanced. And yeah, they'll be big on there. I normally do 3-inch letters. These will be probably 8 inches at the root and 6 inches at the tip. I'm not sure what kind of letters I want to do. I kind of like those Red Baron letters. You know, the old English looking. But I got the turner and the sizing that'll work with the dope. It's lime line sizing that will work with lacquer, supposedly. So we'll see. Come on, hurry up and dry. We got 6 watchers and 6 likes. Any of you guys forget to hit the like button, because we've had as much as 13 watchers on there, and those likes help so much. There we go. We got another one. Those likes help so much. It boosts the algorithm. Another thing that helps so much is the comments. After the video is over, the comments help a lot. Of course, the super chats help a lot, and we thank you, Stomper. And it shows engagement. And what engagement does is it puts my channel out to other channels. It's kind of like the algorithm on AdSense. You know, it boosts the views, the CPM, whatever. We ain't never going to be a huge channel, but I'd sure like to hit 5,000 someday. So if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. I was 57 away, and now I'm on the way. I was 47 away, and now I think I'm 50 something away. I lost 10 subscribers or whatever. It's not a very good month. So if you're going to subscribe and unsubscribe, don't subscribe. Just pass it by. I don't care. Still got the shiny wet spot over, and I'll do 1 coat on the bottom. and then I'll end. Let's see what it says here. Yogi. Yeah. Well, I have won a concourse. That trophy is gaudy. I wish it was a propeller, but let me see if I can zoom in on that. We'll zoom in and see what happens. That trophy right there is the 2022 Concourse trophy. It's dusty as hell. '22 Championships Control Line Precision Aerobatics. Concourse d'Elegance. Pretty proud of that one. That took 25 years to get. So what is that? What is that trophy? What did that trophy cost me? You won't believe it, but I don't care. It cost $25,000. 25 years going to the Nationals at $1,000 a pop. 25 grand. Cost more than my car. Almost ready to flip it over. Come on, hurry up. Was it all worth it? I don't know. This makes me happy, just showing you guys the things that I know. And everything that I know, that I show you, I know works. I don't tell you shit that I know don't work. Shit, that's one Harley Davidson's worth. Shit. Anybody that's been to Nationals knows what it costs. Anywhere it's $100, and now it's even more. $100 to enter. Okay, and $700. $690 or what? We'll say $650. $650 for the motel for the week, and that's the Dirtbag Motel, Habib. And then eating out for a week plus gas, $1,000, just the way it goes. Same with Brodax. I guess I could. Well, it's still too tacky right there. It'll stick to this foam. Right there. Wonder if I could sand it and help it along. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, still tacky. Because it will stick to the foam. $62, 63 ounces. What do you think? You think I'm right? It's only a pound overweight. 62, 52. Yeah, this should be in the 50s. Yeah, it should be. It's only a profile. You wouldn't think it would be that much overweight. This foam wing that did it, but hopefully it's like a surfboard. It's back in the 60s, you know, you go to the surfboard shop and you pick up the surfboard. Yeah, we could surf on that. Yogi, you're delirious. My biggest fan. I appreciate the vote of confidence, but Nationals, the first 3 rows. I can tell who sanded what though, but anybody in those first 3 rows, 19, 18, 17, you know, there's just a look about those airplanes to cut above. There we go. Very few 20-pointers. I'm not sure I've seen one. Well, let's see. No, I think Howard got 20 points one year, but he didn't win the concourse. But Howard's airplane, he works on that for years. He flying the same airplane and fixing the buggers as he goes, and by the time he's done, it's perfect. It's ridiculous, but it's instead of when he's fixing the buggers. Yeah, I turn it over and slop some more dope on it. It's starting to pick up a shine. And this is pretty crude, just like framing a house, you know, this part of the build. Pretty crude. Let me see if she wants to go to the store. I'll paint this and ask her if she wants to go to the store. I'm pretty sure she does. If she doesn't, I can roll right through it. We do 2 hours. Yeah, that looks pretty good. It's all covered. Can you, well, let's see, we can grab the shine. Nope, not from there. You see the shine there? Because it's wet, but oop, almost scratched the crap out of it. Now I'm going to show you the trick. The trick to weight savings. We got a bump right there. We're gonna have to fill with some acryl or crater. Wait till we get the tissue on it to do that. Use my acryl green method. Don't put it on bare. Put it on after the tissue because it's a high solvent product, and it has to have something to bite to. So got to have substrate and tissue in order to stick. Otherwise, if you stick it on the wood, it'll just peel right off. It's not putty anyway. It's imperfection filler. Okay, so this started out 60-40, well, 50-50. And I'm going to fill this back to here with thinner. And that's what we're going to do our subsequent coats with. It'll get 1 quart of the super thin stuff, and the paper will be put on the super thin stuff. Like I say, this shit is $55 a gallon, so you don't want to use it for cleaning guns and stuff. Spill it everywhere. I mixed this up 8/17 of last year. I don't know what I was painting in. Good enough. All right. Huh. Maybe I'll have Cena Cena do me a paint job. Normally I do them myself, but I don't know. Be nice to do what Joe Daly did, put one mask on and peel each color off. All that does is save me from working. I'll tell you the paint job that I really liked, and the airplane didn't do very well in appearance judging, but I really liked the layout. That was Derek Barry's green airplane. That was a copy of the RC airplane, whatever the hell, Extra 300 that had that paint scheme on it. It was nice. It was very appealing to my eye. It was monochromatic, shades of green. And yet his Matrix airplane won a concourse, and I thought it was ugly. God, it was gaudy. Terrible. A lot of work, but gaudy. Oh well, we're not going to worry about it. It's only a profile. All right, let me call down and see if she wants to go to the store. If she does, I got to end the video. If she doesn't, we'll stay some more. Hey, it's 2:30. You want to go to the store or what? How long you think? All right. All right, I got 15 minutes more to go on this. So, shit, I forgot to put some extra coats on this. Oh well. Can't forget these. Oh yeah, that acts a lot better. More thinner. More thinner. This will take a couple extra coats because the dope was thin. But should something screw up, it's a little part. It's not a big deal. I don't have any zinc stearate left, but I do have some Johnson's baby powder. I think I'm going to do the super old school of 1 coat of Johnson baby powder because I'm not going to use primer. That zinc stearate, I didn't really care for it because it felt oily to me. When you sand it, my hands got, when you sand DC 540, your hands tingle. When you sand dope with zinc stearate in it, it feels greasy. I wonder if Amazon sells zinc stearate. Maybe it was. Let me look. We already found our answer to Aerogloss thinner, which I knew was MEK. Let's see. Amazon zinc stearate. I bet they got it. ZINKSTAIRATE. Zinc stearate. Food grade. Zinc stearate. Region powder. $47 a pound. We won't be finishing with that. Go buy us a $2 thing of baby powder and say that's good enough. And not use much of it. Now, let's talk about, I mentioned baby powder and zinc stearate. What does that do? Well, it fills the grain. However, it's very soft. It will achieve a super nice quick finish because you're going to sand that down in the grain. It's going to level off. But sitting in the hot sun, that grain is going to show back up because it's shrinking. Even the non-shrinking dope is shrinking. If you use clear dope, straight clear dope, which I may just foreshadow the baby powder, and you keep adding the dope and sanding between coats until it frosts, and it looks milky. The whole thing will look milky, and then spray your color on. It's a harder finish. Clear dope by itself is harder than clear dope with zinc stearate or baby powder in it. And it doesn't quite have the tendencies to shrink in the sun. Because when you're flying in the summer and you're on the tarmac at the Nationals, that tarmac is 130 degrees. The heat is just radiating off, or maybe it's sitting in your car all afternoon. It's just, it does some weird shit to your airplane. And it's like the dissimilar woods that the hardnesses of woods that I talk about in the nose, where you have your engine bearers coming into the nose ring, and it'll go through 1 layer, 1/8-inch layer of balsa wood down to carbon glue, carbon glue, then 1/8-inch layer, then into the hardwood, then into another block. So you got like 5 or 6 transitions in different woods, even though you have fiberglass the nose. When it's sitting in the sun, I mean, every airplane that I got, except for the ones that when I started noticing that and digging that out and putting superfill in there, I could see that line. As a matter of fact, if you go back in the channel and you look at when I was in Dayton and I built Mother Tucker, whatever, You'll notice that it has Tucker Special or whatever I put on the nose. Well, that's right along that line that I'm talking about. Finished that airplane, looked great. Put it in the sun, sucked on down. I said, ah, shit. I don't want to refinish the nose. I just painted Tucker right across that line. Put the top of the T, across that line and hit it. But it's inevitable. It happens to all of them. And if the airplane's new, you won't be able to see it. But if it's several years old, been in the sun, I can see it. You can also, when Bob Hunt mentioned this, and I didn't know that this what it was, and set it in the sun, you can see the weave, the fiberglass weave in the nose. Well, he says it's a photograph. It's not sucking down. It's an imprint on the back side of the clear or the glass or whatever. I didn't quite get the drift. All I know is that it does it, and you can see it if you're looking for it. So these are just a few things. Yeah, this turned out good. Get another coat on it and then start getting a tissue on it, getting the rest of that dope on the tissue. Maybe add a little bit more clear. Then we can glue all this mess together. You'll notice here I've got the lines drawn. I don't know if you can see it. The lines drawn exactly where that fuselage sits so that I can put epoxy between the lines and get a good bond. See, here's what happened. I got some of that foam stuck to the wing, which I knew was going to happen. Let's knock it off. $20 ounces. What a joke. I still hear that weave. That'll go away when the tissue goes over the top of it. I'm going to use some 1950s K&S silk span on this, medium. Should be okay. I just hope it flies good. And to fly it at Brodeck to just have fun with, because you don't care about hitting the ground. Well, you do, but you don't. Well, that's about all I got for this this session. How much time did we put in? Now we can go 8 minutes more for even 2 hours. And if I said anything to offend anybody, oh well, get over it. You'll be fine. I can only do what I can do. Any questions from anybody? We got 16 watchers, but we don't have 16 lights. We only got 13. That means 3 of you are sleeping. I ever get a video with 60 likes, man, that'd be amazing. No. The last one of those that I flew at, which is my contest that I started some 25 years ago, or longer than that, because I think it was in the 90s. Matter of fact, I know it was in the 90s, because that's when the original Vipers were out. 94, I think. I don't know. We'll have to look and see. But that's on my birthday, and I suggested at a club meeting. I said, "Why don't we have a winter tune-up?" I was new to Missouri then. I didn't realize how brutally cold it could be in February. And yeah, I went to the first few, won them. However, when they started getting down to 30, 20 degrees, I said, forget it. But the last one I was at, I remember because I was standing in the field. It was a bright sunny day. It had to be at least 70 degrees. And I called my dad while standing in the field looking back at the square pad. And I said, "Hey, what do you do?" I said, "No." I said, "Let me talk to Dad." And he said, "Well, he's outside doing something, whatever." So he came back into the house. And after the phone, he went, "Oh shit, I gotta go. Bye." He had a water leak in the closet, and he had put a space heater in the closet of his travel trailer, and it caught on fire. And if I wouldn't have called him at that particular time, he'd have lost his trailer. So that was a sign. But I was there at that one. Like I say, it was about 70 degrees out. That's the last one I remember being at, because I've been at them before where they've taken visqueen plastic and wrapped the pagoda and run a smudge pot in there to heat it up, and I ain't doing it no more. I mean, I'd hate to see it go away, but I can't do it. I just can't stand the cold. I'm from the desert. Got to remember that. Yeah, we're going to have a bugger right there. We're going to have to work with. All right, 4 minutes left. Still got to shape the flaps. I guess I can do that, shape the flaps tonight on the Hangout. Constantly moving forward. Get them hinged up. It's looking pretty good, though. It's starting to pick up a shine already. Got another 2 coats of dope. It'll be shiny. Average rule of thumb for dope is 2 coats a day. Now I've done them right after the other here. I'm supposed to do 1 in the morning and 1 at night. We're behind, so. Yeah. Dropped it. I'm gonna have to get out my contour sander and block sand that. I got a long block that it's a Forma, I don't contour gauge or whatever. I'll set up, put some sandpaper in and sand that leading edge perfectly straight, because it comes down low right there. And that does make a difference. How about that one? That side looks pretty good over there. But we'll hit them both. Feels good, but all right, guys, I appreciate you watching. I'll be back later. Remember, tonight is the hangout, and that starts at 7 o'clock Central. And if you're going to be a member, you're going to join in, you better be there at least an hour ahead of time, because I'm going to lock the meetings after an hour. So, sorry. Because what's happening is that people are coming in the last 15 minutes and trying to hang out for the after party. That ain't going to work. Either that or we can get rid of the after party. Wouldn't be so bad if these guys were contributors. But some of them ain't. Does it cost me by the hour? No, it's just general principle. It only costs me by the month. If you want to talk after hours, buy your own. Alrighty, make sure you like and subscribe. And I do appreciate all the support and the likes. And turn the bell on for notifications so you get notified when I come online. And fair winds, tight lines. We'll see you at 7. See ya.